All right, then, welcome back. So let's go. But then let me introduce properly Olabisi Folutile. I greet you, ma'am.
Thank you for, and please add my husband's name, Deji Folutile.
Okay. Olabisi Deji Folutile. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It is noted. All right, so we go straight to our first story. You know, bandits are irrational beings, but when humanity gets into the mix, they yield, they succumb. Terrorists who attacked and kidnapped passengers on the Abuja-Kaduna train have released a picture of a baby girl born in captivity. The mother of the baby, one of the two pregnant women seized by the outlaws, was about 8 months pregnant as of the 28th of March, the day they were abducted. Recall that only one passenger, Alwan Hassan, the managing director of Bank of Agriculture, BOA, was released after a ransom was paid. Emeka, but we are not told that the mother of the girl is released.
No, she's still in captivity.
Yeah. So it begs the question of why show us the picture of the baby?
Yeah, of course. You know, these people are criminals. They want to strike fear into the hearts of Nigerians, and they want to pressurize the government, you know, set the people against the government that, okay, look at this baby has to be rescued. And knowing that, you see, these guys are not totally ignorant, as some of us think that they're just running about in the bush. Maybe they have an idea of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which says that state parties to that convention must protect children from harm, must protect them from exploitation, must ensure that...
And women too.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm particularly zeroing in on the rights of that child, that infant, that if a child is in captivity, state parties should ensure that they are freed as quickly as possible. But look at what has been going on over how many years since this Boko Haram insurgency started and snowballed into what we call banditry today. Look at what has been going on. Children kidnapped, little children kidnapped, women kidnapped. So many have been kidnapped from different schools, dating even before the Chibok girls were kidnapped, and have not been released up till today. Nobody even knows what has happened to them. So the point is that I hope I heard special forces of Nigerian military just returned from the training abroad. I hope the government will be able to deploy them. Yes, against this people. Because you see, what these guys are after is to use every tool they can to drive a wedge between the government and the people, knowing that the government is suffering a serious credibility crisis as a result of the insecurity in the country. So, of course, by bringing out this baby's picture, it's a form of exploitation. They're exploiting the situation against the child. So
also maybe reaching out to the relatives of the abducted.
Yeah, but if the relatives don't have money, you see, some of their counterparts killed about three residents, abducted residents of a district in Kaduna, because they couldn't raise the outrageous sums they were demanding. So I think it is not just about telling us you have bombed hideouts of these bandits and all that. How many of them have been put on trial? I mean, because the offenses that can be listed against these people are so many. So, and the requisite penalties are there. But if we just keep making it look like it's just about throwing some bombs, you kill some of them.
Emeka, accept that security matters are not things we discuss at the marketplace. You know,
we agree, but what we want are results. Yeah, let the security chiefs. I learned they met either yesterday or today. But what we want are results. These people should, and all other captives should be freed. Should regain their freedom,
or for that matter, rescued.
Rescued. The onus is on the government.
BC, we can also expect that when the other pregnant woman is delivered, we'll see another picture, perhaps.
Maybe. Actually, what these guys are looking for goes beyond money, based on what we could gather from reports here and there. I learned they want government to release some of their commanders in detention for these people. And that is not strange. They do that from time to time. So I guess that is one of the reasons why this particular set of people have been in captivity for so long. And don't forget the fact that this is like a high-profile case based on the kind of people that were even involved in that attack. And if government failed to accede to the demand of this terrorist, it is possible that the other woman, depending on the state of her pregnancy, could give birth, because these are people that were abducted almost over a month ago. If I think it's like about a month or over a month.
Yes,
March 22 or 28.
About a month now.
Yeah. So if it depends on the stage of that pregnancy, and it's just unfortunate that a baby is born into this kind of life. It's just, I looked at it. The
baby doesn't know what is happening.
It doesn't know. It's even closing our eyes. And you see, we need to also know the fact that these people are so organized to the point that they have medical experts that actually took the delivery of this woman. And look at the clothes they even want for that baby. It's not just any kind of...
That's the humanity in them.
Yeah, they even recognize femininity. They gave this girl a pink dress.
Oh, okay.
Not even a blue or whatever. This is a baby girl, and pink is associated with baby girls.
Emeka Bisi should know.
Yes, I know. I know. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is that they are telling us that they are in charge. That is the message I could get from their action.
They are better organized than the government.
They are telling us that they are in charge. They are telling us that they know what they are doing, that they are not the kind of ragtag or reasonable or bandits or, you know, thugs that we might think they are, that they are actually very organized. They know what they are doing, and they even let the families, the relatives know that this is the way we got this baby to be delivered. So to show us that they are very organized, and they are even trying to let us think that medically they are doing well, and that we should not be afraid of the health of the child.
You don't hear say a terrorist don't sick before go hospital.
I don't hear now. Maybe they say that they supply the medicals.
All right. Except that I look at what the Minister of Information had said. These things, you follow them. They say when a honeybee, make a patches on your scrotum, you don't...
you go into a conference with it. You don't...
Otherwise, wahala go there.
I mean...
All right. Okay. All right. Wish them Godspeed, especially in the area of releasing them. To our next story. You know, the interpretation of a law in any jurisdiction like ours is anchored on the functional or the logical interpretation of such a statute. Section 8412 of the Electoral Act raised the national adrenaline late last year when the National Assembly sought by legislation that only by direct primary shall any political party determine its candidate for election. Now, the president withheld his assent because of this. Again, President Muhammadu Buhari told the Federal High Court in Abuja yesterday that he never asked the National Assembly to expunge the contentious Section 8412. He said he only expressed reservations and concerns in respect of that aspect of the Electoral Act. As far as he is concerned, the section is unconstitutional and cannot stand, BC.
No, the section is constitutional as it is because it's a valid law of the federal...
Am I misquoting Mr. President?
That is the opinion of Mr. President. And the president is entitled to his opinion. However, as it is, Section 8412 of the amended electoral
is constitutional?
Is constitutional right now because the president himself has assented his signature to that bill, which made it to become an act of law.
Yeah.
Now, it does not mean that the president does not have the power to seek a review of that section of the yes. Then it also means that the National Assembly will look at it, and if they decide to review it in line with the president's wish, then and the president signs it, it becomes law again. But as it is now, this is what we have as our law. I think what Mr. President is saying is that he is not saying that that law is not there. You know, the PDP took the federal government to court, and the PDP is saying that because the president wrote the National Assembly that they should expunge that aspect of it because he had earlier expressed his reservations about it, and he just signed because of the timing, and he does not want anything to
and it had raised a lot of dust in the country.
Yes, exactly. So I think what he's just trying to say by that statement is that I am not forcing anybody. I am not saying that this is not what I have signed. However, it is obvious that the president is not satisfied with that section of the amended Electoral Act, and he would like to have it expunged. And it is very important to him because right now, based on that section of the law, many of Mr. President's aides that are going into
elective
offices and campaigning now are supposed to resign their offices, and they have not done so right now. And if this continues with the state of things, there is going to be there are likely to be legal issues should any of such people emerge victorious in any election in future.
The flags and so on.
Exactly. So
Emeka, in this country, the law, when it comes to the aspect of the law, we look at interpretation, and it seems to create more problem than it seeks to solve.
Yeah, it's more worrisome when officials of government who should actually help to protect the law, protect the national interest, try to subvert the law in their personal interest. That is a more worrisome aspect. You see, this matter came up in two different courts. Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, actually accused the Attorney General of the Federation of not informing the court in Umuahia that there was a pending case before Justice Iyangekwo on the same matter. And you now went ahead with a matter at the Federal High Court in Umuahia. And when the court gave a ruling, you quickly moved to try to implement it against your power, try to exercise powers that you do not own, that the Constitution didn't give to you, to expunge a portion of a law. Now, it is strongly speculated that the Attorney General intends to contest, the governorship election in Kebbi State.
Made known his
Now, it is clear that he now has other interests beyond being in the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. The same thing with Ngige, the Minister of Labour, the same thing with Emeka Nwajoba, the Minister of State for Education. I think they should excuse us and leave those seats. Because, Mr. President, in a matter of weeks, we'll be getting into the last lap of his administration, the last year. So I think the president at this point should even rejig his cabinet, should get some fresh hands to help him run the last lap smoothly. You see, these people have divided interests. All they are doing is they are pointing to Femi, the governor of Ekiti State, that he resigned 30 days to the election. You see, I wonder why our government officials like to point to negative, unhelpful instances.
References,
Yes, instead of pointing to things that we build, that will help
edify
to strengthen our laws, help to strengthen our value system, they point at things that they could use, corral, you know, things in their, to their advantage. And it is very wrong. It is very wrong. In fact, it's even their actions.
You wonder if these things are deliberate.
Yes. Why was the electoral act delayed? Okay, the idea was that for the presidency, the executive was trying to avoid consensus being fixed in the electoral act. But at the end of the day, the APC, the ruling party, elected its officials by consensus. So what are we talking about? You are probating and reprobating at the same time. But my suspicion is that Section 8412 was the reason why the electoral act was delayed, why the assent was delayed, because some people trying to push their selfish interests advised Mr. President that he should delay assent. Don't forget, some of these provisions have actually been dealt with far back the time of the 8th Senate under Dr. Bukola Saraki. So these things are not new provisions. These things are not novel provisions that, okay, they will say they require, they need some time.
Contesting elective office, you are giving a number of days.
Even the Speaker of the House of Representatives, who is also a member of APC, has advised these ministers that look at in the states, people in appointive offices are resigning. You are not bigger than the law. That you may think you are being smart, that the law will favor you. What if at the end of the day, you've won election and all of that, you've even been sworn in, and then the Supreme Court rules that you got there through the flagrant disobedience to the law? What are you going to do? You have to step aside. And now, it is in their own interest to uphold the law as federal officers. It is unfortunate that it is people at the level of the states that are showing example to people at the federal level. Mr. President should just ask them to excuse, to leave those offices and go and face the electoral pursuits, so that we can have a Federal Executive Council of people whose minds are set on working for the nation.
And when the general impression is that politics is about the only viable vocation in the country, you are wondering if politicians deliberately refuse to play by the rules.
Of course, yes, they do. They deliberately refuse to play by the rules because if they
it won't mean anything.
Yes, if they play by the rules, I doubt if we will see people struggling to be in power the way we are seeing them now. And unfortunately, because nothing has happened to those who refuse to play by the rules in the past, we continue to see many more just disobeying rules and laws and all of that.
Sorry, we have Olushola is joining us from Ibadan, Oyo State. Olushola, I greet you, sir. Are you there? No luck. So go on.
Yeah, because the provision of this Section 8412 is very simple. No political appointee at any level shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of candidates for any election. So they know, and it's a very simple thing.
Sorry, I hear Olushola is still waiting at Ibadan. Okay. Are you there, Olushola? Hello, Olushola. Are you listening to me? No luck.
Okay.
Better luck next time.
Wow. Now, so you see, it's a very simple provision. And what are we even talking about? If you are a political appointee, you are supposed to work in the interest of Nigeria for the benefit of the nation. I guess one of the reasons why this provision is there is to prevent any form of distraction on the parts of political office holders. And I think if we appreciate the fact that if you are appointed a minister, you are supposed to serve the country, and you are supposed to devote your 100% to that, we will appreciate why this kind of provision of law is important, because this time around, it's not a case of disenfranchisement. It's a case of choice. It's a case of either choosing to serve in a particular role or choosing to aspire
and play by the rules at the same time.
At the same time, yes. So, but the point they are bringing in now is that if you don't allow them, you are disenfranchising them. I don't think that is any form of disenfranchisement, because that is the point that the Attorney General of the Federation is raising through the President. But I doubt if this is the case in this particular situation. And it would be nice if people just look at the general interest of the nation and play according to rules and do things that will benefit everyone.
And just to take a line from George Orwell's 1984, the book 1984, Big Brother is watching you. Okay, we'll take a commercial break and return. Please don't go away. Stay. All right, we can go to our next story. You know, for former Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, he said, let me quote him, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambition," end quote. Loosely interpreted, this means that one may not seek a position of power by all means, but would never refuse one if offered. Former Vice President and presidential hopeful Atiku Abubakar on Thursday demanded to be given the right of first refusal of a presidential ticket by the National Working Committee, NWC, of the PDP. He reminded the august body of his long-standing relationship with most, if not all, members of the party's NWC. Ambition, we are reminded, is the path to success, but the vehicle that takes you there is persistence. But first, let's share the PDP story with you. It's an eye-opener.
First of all, it is the most experienced National Working Committee we have ever elected.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar making a case before the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party on why he's the best among the rest aspirants seeking to clinch the presidential ticket of the party. Atiku Abubakar says he's the most qualified and the only one who has been tested on a presidential ballot and also has what it takes to snatch power from the ruling All Progressives Congress.
I dare say, Mr. Chairman, I am the best candidate under normal circumstances. This is a guy who has already 11 million votes in his kitty. And I think as a party, you should give me the right of first refusal.
We have been speaking to people, and they tell us, if you do not bring Atiku, you can kiss the success bye-bye. So, Mr. Chairman, I present to you your friend and your servant, Atiku Abubakar, for the presidency of Nigeria.
The NWC listened attentively to Atiku and his presidential campaign team, but they also know that they must be seen to be fair to all sides and provide a level playing field for a democratic contest. The national chairman of the PDP also rubbished desperate attempts by some groups seeking to produce a consensus presidential candidate for the party.
Let me take this time to explain to Nigerians that the party has its own internal mechanisms of selecting a candidate, whether by consensus or by election. We do it transparently. Those who love our party more than us should please tarry a little. They should not select candidates for the People's Democratic Party. Our internal processes will go ahead, and we are going ahead with it. At the end of the day, we'll come out with a candidate chosen by the members of the People's Democratic Party themselves. It is that candidate that will present to the rest of Nigeria for the forthcoming elections.
So far, there are 17 aspirants vying for the presidential ticket of Nigeria's main opposition party. But the People's Democratic Party will have to work to worm its way into the heart of Nigerians as it hopes to secure majority votes that will end the administration of the ruling All Progressives Congress. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Thank you, Femi. Emeka, the list is expanding, but you know that Cross River Governor is the latest presidential hopeful.
There are those who are declaring, but are not going to buy forms.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, maybe like, the joke,
the
joke out there is that some of them are broke and are using it to raise funds to...
So if they are not buying forms, where is the...
they've declared now. So
the declaration itself will bring money.
Well, the ways of politicians. You cannot. The ways of Nigerian politicians. They are very. They are very.
Have you heard as well that former Speaker Dimeji Bankole is?
So you see, all kinds of people we are not even heard from for a long time are just calling out and. Well, you want to know that certain things are at play. It's not just about wanting to pick the party's ticket. So, well, to Atiku's bid, yes, Atiku is a citizen of Nigeria. He is
eminently qualified.
Eminently qualified, yes, and he's talking about what he thinks can count in his advantage. But the 11 million votes, I don't know. They are not frozen in time. The votes, have been dissipated, over the course of time.
I hear they are...
The votes also belong to the party. They are not the personal treasure of the
But I hear those votes are situated in the southeast part of the country.
You see, now that's where the whole thing gets very, very, becomes tricky. Because the Southeast is presenting Peter Obi a very strong candidate. So many people are rooting for Peter Obi.
How many votes do you think the man has in store?
You mean Peter Obi?
Yeah.
Well, it's the electorate now, because where INEC has been involved in continuous voter registration. So new numbers are being added. It's at the end of the exercise we'll know how many more will be expected to vote at the polls next year. But I think Atiku Abubakar should go beyond just picking at numbers to actually reaching out to the delegates, and then also talking to some of his fellow contenders. Because you see, people within the PDP, they appear to be more serious people than in the APC. I mean, these ones have gone, 17 of them have gone, picked forms, and declared their interest. And the party has said, okay, these ones, we are going to have to contend with them. So now it's about intrigues. He says yes, right to force refusal.
And all that.
Yeah, he says right to force refusal, yes. But some others are saying that on their own. Somebody like Wike is saying on his own that he can muster support for the party. In fact, he can help the party to
Wike says
to win.
The country does not need anybody who will run away at a point.
Well, the words of politicians. Politicians engage in funny attacks on one another. Yes, but what we are talking about is that the country is in dire straits, and the country needs leadership that can put it back on the right track. That's what we need.
You see, my trouble here is Nigerians have very, very short memory. I'm sure you have heard that statement. I don't know if it is debatable or not. But let's consider the cacophony of voices from around the country. Pa Ayo Adebanjo of Afenifere is saying the North is attempting to scatter the South so that the North, can remain in power. IPOB is saying no Ndigbo son or daughter must take the position of VP. Senator Ume of Anambra is saying if the Southeast is denied the presidency this time, then it's a gross injustice and all that. So this cacophony of voices is not doing the polity anything good.
Yeah, but it's normal. It's normal. Look, politics is a game of interest. And this is the time that you also advance your own interest. You see, the problem is that we have nations within Nigeria. And people will always want to advance the interest of their own regions and all of that, and which I don't think is wrong.
Okay.
It's not wrong. It now depends on how you are able to persuade the other parts of the country to work with you before you can get there. And that is where our constitution is very good. And before you can be elected, there are a certain number of states that you have to take.
The constitution, in your estimation, is very good.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. It's good. It's good. Even this our
never mind them.
Please, if we work with it, it's fine. We don't work with it. That's the problem.
Emeka, did you hear that?
Well, it's about the operators mainly, not the spirit.
It's not the letters.
Yeah, the operators themselves. So we just talked about the Electoral Act, what people are doing with it.
Yeah.
So it's about if there are amendments.
And how they interpret these laws.
Yes. So, I mean, if do Nigerians even remember that there was an election that involved father and son as candidates, Sangresi Koko and Avani Koko, who ran against each other, father and son ran against each other in this country.
Without
heavens did not fall.
It happened also in Kwara when Saraki and his father were in opposing.
No, that one was no. This
wasn't a different party, quite all right, but they had different
candidates. This one was that two candidates in an election, father and son, were opposing candidates in an election, and heavens did not fall. So politicians can continue to bring up but what we want is service.
And let me have a right to live in freedom.
And also for the electorate themselves.
Yeah.
To be informed, well informed. I think we don't have enlightened electorate.
And that business is that to inform the.
I think it is the business of our national orientation agency, which I do not know how.
No, it has a DG.
It has a DG. Yeah. Okay, but I really don't know much about what they are doing. But it's actually.
Sorry. I hear Olushola Julius at Ibadan has joined us again. Shola, good evening. Welcome. Hello, Shola.
Hello.
Yes, Shola, let's go.
Hello, good evening. This is Olushola Julius from Ibadan, Oyo State Capital.
All right then.
Yes. Good evening, citizen. Good evening, madam, and the other brother there. Good evening, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yes, I'm online. Hello.
Go on.
Yes.
We are listening to you.
Now,
go ahead.
Atiku has the right to be voted for. Atiku has the right to vote and to be voted for. And really, he has the right to say he has 11 million votes in his kitty. Why? Because of what has happened in last election. I get me now. But what is so important is Atiku ready for what is happening in our country now? Has he gotten what it takes for him to come out and say and do what is right for Nigerians? Is he going to stand to the promises he's going to give us? Is he having the tenacity? Is he having the capacity? Is he having the power and the boldness to confront the challenges that Nigerians are facing now? Is he not going there because of the nefarious attached to that position? Is he ready?
Thank you, Shola. We got you first time. BC, has Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, does he have, to quote Shola now in Ibadan, does Atiku have what it takes to take frontally on Nigeria's critical problems, insecurity and corruption?
Those are the issues that we should be asking, really. And I was talking about voters' enlightenment the other time. If Nigerian voters are well enlightened, there are many candidates out there now that wouldn't have come out at all. You were also talking about people having short memory. there are people that won't even have the audacity to come out to tell us that they want to go for, and I'm not referring to anybody in particular in this case. I think the conversation should be around who is capability. Because talking about you having 11 million votes in your kitty, what has that got to do with the problem?
Are you asking if the 11 million votes are scattered? Or
I don't even know where the 11 million votes are to start with.
But don't go to court, BC.
No, because to start with, I could vote for you 4 years ago, and I may not choose you this year in another election. So the fact that 11 million people voted for you in 2015 does not mean that the same number of people.
Does it not underscore what I said? We have very short memories.
So,
and BC, tell you what, I'm not a seer. I know that the next president is coming from either the APC or the PDP. So you would have expected a so-called third force to come into the mix.
Exactly, which we are not seeing now, which shows that we are like still in the same, we have not moved forward.
But they say your democracy is a nascent one. You are still in the class.
It's renascent.
After how many years?
How many years? After you don't spend how many
No, we are no more. It's no longer nascent or renascent.
For what?
It is already established.
A growing democracy.
So these nuisances.
How many new candidates are we seeing? How many new faces are we seeing in APC, in PDP?
Even in the other 16 political parties, 18 political parties.
Who are we seeing? It's still the same set of people.
Same set of people. And if you talk about the third force, you may not totally dismiss the possible emergence of a third force. Of course, the primary, within the framework, there's still up to a month before the primaries. And so, if anything is possible.
And that third force is likely to also break from the two forces.
From the two, leading political parties.
Major political parties.
Nothing should be ruled out at this point.
Okay. I'm not foreclosing a third or fourth force, but then give us a break. And as BC said, the elector needs a lot of education.
Yes, from INEC, yes.
And from the politicians and National Orientation Agency. The agencies should reorient.
Should wake up, yes, it should wake up.
Okay then, our last story for the evening. There's no denying the fact that the federal government and ASUU impasse is innovating for all parties concerned and the country at large. The Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has threatened to embark on a 3-day nationwide warning strike in solidarity with affiliate unions in the universities and Nigerian students. NLC President Comrade Ayuba Waba and the General Secretary Comrade Emmanuel Ubuaja jointly signed a communique to this effect after the Congress Central Working Committee meeting held in Abuja. Recall that Labour had given the federal government a 21-day ultimatum for it to resolve outstanding issues with a view to stemming the impasse. The 21 days are over and Labour is ready to cross the red line. Is this plain pig-headedness or barefaced imbalance of the senses?
Wow. For me, I think the quietness around the FG-ASUU strike is too much. I think we should all be making more noise than we are, and we should be putting pressure on the federal government this time around, because you see, it is the federal government that signed an agreement with
a memorandum of action.
Yes, with the union. And if it is not performing what he promised to do, it is his problem. It does not matter whether it started in 2009 or whether it started today, because government is a continuum. So I think we should all be mounting pressure on the federal government to do something about this impasse. You see, if we look at what these youths are going through and the implication of this strike on their education and the gains that foreign countries are making out of Nigeria because of this kind of problems, we would think twice. Many countries that don't even have universities that are near 50% of the so-called bad Nigeria universities are taking our children abroad. And we are paying huge money in forex.
Because the money is there, BC.
Not necessarily because the money is there. You see, some people take loan. I know people that took loans
to send their children outside.
I know them. I even know people themselves that, you know. So it's not.
You fit take loan?
I know if you take loan, no.
Okay.
I go stay for Nigeria.
All right.
And thank God for private universities who will not go on strike. So thank God for that. So really, if we look at the plight of these students, we should be more concerned.
Yeah.
And I think that on this, I will support NLC embarking on a solidarity strike, at least to draw attention.
All right.
So
Emeka, I won't go into a debate with BC, but a strike called by the NLC, for me, seems like a broken record.
Well, it also reminds me of what I've been saying on social media about that the ASUU strike has been running for like 41 years now or something. I don't know. Now, I want to remind people that the first general strike we had in Nigeria was in 1945.
Yeah.
By the late Michael Imodu.
Yeah.
So are we now saying that the demands of workers in 1945
have changed?
That they are even irrelevant? That why are workers still going on strike? Since they've been going on strike since 1945. Even in the developed world, all over the world, you know, going on strike is a right of workers.
Yeah.
But I think beyond that,
you remember the last strike somewhere? Is it in Thailand? And the Prime
different
Minister,
places. What about in Sri Lanka? Where they forced the president to sack his cabinet because of power cuts.
Yeah.
So all these things, even in was it Burkina Faso, so all these things happen. But I think the president should at this time withdraw the vice president from his campaign junket to come and sit down with ASUU and make sure that all the issues are there. It is clear.
It's clear. Are you being fair?
No, it's clear. You see,
the man is running for president, and you ask.
The man has a job, a current job, vice president. Nigerians didn't elect him to be running for office, for running a campaign. While he should face the first duty that Nigerians have given to him, just like what you quoted Marcus Aurelius to have said. So now, the interest of this nation supersedes any political campaign or political ambition. He should withdraw the vice president because it's clear that Ngige, Mekawa Juba, Adamu, and the rest of them, that they have got to the end of the argument. They cannot go beyond what they've been able to do with us. So they are just painting the situation. And it's only the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that can bring these issues to an end. So it is either himself, Buhari, takes over the negotiation, or he calls the vice president to say, okay, what are the issues? How can we, are there certain things we can...
they are listening to you.
Yes, it's even good, and I'm telling them because our children are at home. Our children are at home. And our children are also listening to me. If I don't campaign for the interest of the children, they will call me an irresponsible Nigerian. So I have to speak out. The president has the buck stops at his table. He should do something.
Emeka, you are getting angry.
He should do something. No, I'm not getting angry. No, I don't need to get angry. It's an appeal to him. He's a father. He's a father. The vice president is a father. It won't take anything. Just 1 week off his campaign trail.
Let's take Ada. Ada is waiting patiently at Jos in Plateau State. Good evening, Ada. How are you?
Good evening.
Yes, Sister Ada. Yeah, we can hear you. Go on.
Hello.
Go on. We can hear you.
It's Ada calling from Jos Plateau State. I'm happy to get you. I know you're almost running out of time. Do you know what? NLC should do what they are doing. That is in solidarity with ASUU. And all of us, just like the has said there, we all must be involved. Because it's really shocking that there are two major principal characters that have to do with this ASUU strike negotiation. One, after picking the presidential nomination form or whatever of APC, one told us that ASUU is not supposed to tell them the platform they use in training them. So what is that? They don't even have emotional intelligence. Even if it's what is at the back of their mind, why should he say it now? We are waiting for them in the field. The other one told us that they carried the negotiation was by Goodluck Jonathan. Maybe that's why they want to bring him back. So he will come and fulfill his promise. What the hell is going on in this country? For how long will we continue like this?
Yeah.
Let's wait for them in the field.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you, Sister Ada. Except that former President Jonathan has not thrown his hat in the ring. Please. That's not official. BC, you know, let's look at, there's an old saying, when a quarrel drags on for too long, it suggests that the two parties are at fault. ASUU is holding on to UTAS. Government is saying IPPIS and so on. So there's a question of mutual suspicion here.
Because all of them have their own reasons to be suspicious. While government is saying that, okay, this is what we are going to use, ASUU is also saying that you have used this thing and there are so many ghost workers. And unfortunately for government, even the head of service confirmed recently that about 1,000 and something number of people were discovered as ghost workers, even on the NIPPS, or maybe now that is why they were able to discover them.
If we are able to catch ghosts, it's a plus.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying now, that maybe that is the reason why they are able to discover them. But for me, the payment platform is not the problem per se.
Yeah.
It's not that problem. There are many underlying problems that need to be sorted out. And it has to do with this so-called agreement that they always come to refer to 20 years to come. If there is any ASUU strike, they will still go back to that 2009 because the amount of money in that agreement, it is not possible for this government to be able to pay it. Or for Nigerian government.
No. Are you listening to
it's
you?
In trillions.
Well, they can start paying.
If they are just serious about it, somewhere. You understand? If they are serious, if they have been paying
how much did Mr. President get from approval to
just 50 billion?
No. I mean for the last money he got for.
He's been getting loans.
No. This last.
Okay, so all his loans, though. The loans
this fuel subsidy thing.
Okay. 4 trillion.
4 trillion.
And he can pay that one.
You can pay that one. Well, anyway, it's a question of priority.
Yes. Okay.
It's a question of priority.
Okay, subsidy is
to our government.
Okay, to government.
Yes, that is their priority. And that is the reason why the lecturers will not listen to you. When you tell them that government or this nation does not have money, they will always come up with this kind of arguments. And I want to agree with them.
Emeka, we must go.
Yeah, thank you very much. But I think President Buhari should take over the negotiation or withdraw Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Even if just 1 week, start from somewhere. Let these children go back to school.
The Labour Minister.
The Labour Minister that is running for office, they should be moved out, himself and Emeka Wajuba, all of them that are interested in running for office, they should be moved out of the cabinet.
But the Vice President should be moved in.
No, the Vice President was elected. That's why I said the President should remind him, you have a day job, which Nigerians gave you. So come and carry out the functions of that day job, that current job. Just for 1 or 2 weeks.
If it will solve the problem, why not?
Why not? Yes, so that these children can go back to school. It's pathetic.
Well, our business is not to go on strike here. It is to help mold opinion with the facts available to us. And so our job for the day is done. And for the week, we must go. Let me thank Olabisi Deji Folutile for coming.
Thank you so much.
I don't put your husband's name.
Yes, you don't put that. So it go, they watch me. So that when I get to...
Yeah, peace go there.
Peace go there. Thank you.
Yeah. Emeka, nobody's bothered if I said Emeka Madunagu.
Well, I'm bearing my name.
All right, so that's it for the show today. But if you missed a part of this one, join us later on at 11 for a repeat broadcast. And also, don't forget on Sunday. By the way, Jide is unavoidably absent. Jide is somewhere in the north of the country. It's all in the interest of the job. So he'll be here on Sunday, hopefully. So we'll be here on Sunday, 1:30, for a 2-hour show on Journalist Hangout. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.